Is this the best phone for $500 out there right now? The Google Pixel 9a comes with the same processor as the premium Pixel 9 family, a 120Hz actual display and the biggest battery on a Pixel phone yet. Well, here's the contender, the Samsung Galaxy A56 with a full metal and glass build, 120Hz dynamic AMOLED screen, but a less powerful Samsung Exynos 1580 inside. The Pixel 9a has a 6.3-inch 120Hz OLED panel with Google's Accra branding, meaning that the colors remain consistent and realistic even when you boost the brightness. That's pretty cool. And 120Hz refresh rate on a $500 phone? Are you listening, iPhone 16e for $600? The Galaxy A56 has a bigger 6.7-inch AMOLED panel with 120Hz. The processor of the Pixel 9a is a Google Tensor G4, a 3.1 GHz Google-made chip. In the Galaxy, it's an Exynos 1518 at 2.9 GHz maximum. The Pixel has a 48 megapixel main camera, a 13 megapixel ultra-wide camera, another 13 megapixel selfie camera on the front. The Galaxy A56 has a 50 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra-wide, 5 megapixel macro and a 12 megapixel selfie camera. The Pixel 9a rocks a 5100 mAh battery with wired and wireless charging. The Galaxy A56 has a 5000 mAh with faster wired but no wireless charging. Design. The design is where you can definitely tell that this is not like the other Pixel phones. It has an aluminum frame, sure, and a plastic back, mostly recycled materials. It does feel warm and slightly cheapish to the touch, and that thick bezel around the display is a bit hard to look at. The Galaxy A56 is a step better in the build and design department, fully metal and glass, slimmer bezel, and the camera bump on the back still retains the Samsung DNA. The back on the Pixel 9a is a bit bland, the camera bar is gone and just has this very slight bump with two lenses. In the performance department, the Google Tensor G4 is not a powerhouse. It's pretty well known by now that Google's chips don't try to be benchmark crushers or superheat monsters. They have the dedicated NPU cores for Google's AI and the image pipeline for the Pixel photos that are always excellent. They don't bet on the raw performance. But it's still faster than the Exynos inside the Samsung, and the scores show that. Benchmarks aside, this is Google's hardware running Google software, so it mostly runs snappy. This is a core experience phone, and I can't say that my core experience has been hampered by its hardware. Sure, it may be a bit slower when transitioning to view a photo that I've just taken, or it may be a bit slower when opening large games or loading the textures up. The Galaxy A56 is much the same, but with slightly more stutters and hiccups throughout normal browsing. Nothing to hamper the experience, but it's there. Both of these can run games, heavy games like Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin, Arena Breakout. It's hard to say which one feels better. They won't work flawlessly, but I think the Pixel is a little bit smoother here. Thankfully, the games have performance sliders to kind of help the hardware. The displays look great. They have warm, natural colors, and you have some control over color calibration if you want the extra punchy OLED or the subdued and realistic ones. Google's Android also comes with Material U design schemes, so you can really add a dash of view to the customization of the home screen. Camera. Here's the big one. We always care about the Pixel cameras, and for good reason. Google's image processing has made a very good name for itself over the years, and A-series Pixel phones usually have it. The hardware is a bit limited here. We have a 48 megapixel main camera and 13 megapixel ultra-wide camera, while the sensors are a bit slower than on the mainline Pixel phones. I was not disappointed. The Google HDR works wonders at boosting shadows and keeping highlights tame. Pictures look true to life, if a bit cold on the hue, and details typically look great. Samsung also has tons of experience, and the Galaxy A56 pictures are far from disappointing. They also can look a bit more contrasty and a bit warmer than the Pixels. None of these phones have zoom lenses, it's all digital. Google's Super Res Zoom on the Pixel 9a does a good job at 2x for portraits, and you can see the over-sharpening seep in when you go beyond that. The same can pretty much be said about the Galaxy A56. Both selfie cameras provide the same amount of details and impressive handling of dynamics. In the battery life department, the Pixel 9a is quite the champ. Google already did previously say it's the biggest battery on a Pixel phone. With 5100 mAh in the backpack, it can run our benchmark tests like they were a marathon. The Galaxy A56 has a 5000 mAh cell, but I guess software and hardware optimization also play a part here. The Pixel 9a gave us 2 to 3 hours more on our individual tests, browsing, YouTube, binging and gaming. In the end, the Pixel 9a is a pretty hard to beat phone for $500. It does have some more invisible drawbacks. The Gemini Nano XXS, which means it doesn't get all the newest AI tricks. The double XS model does not work continuously, so you won't be getting the screenshots app and the voice call summarizing, which pulls important information from your phone calls automatically. The Galaxy A56 costs the same, comes with 3 cameras, one of them is macro, it doesn't matter, and a metal and glass build, and some more of the Samsung experience. It too, however, does not have the full suite of Galaxy AI features. In fact, it has very little of them. The Pixel 9a still offers slightly better performance, the potential for better and timely updates over the next 7 years, definitely better battery life, and arguably a slightly better camera. So there it is. Comment below which one do you like more, subscribe, drop a like. I'll see you next time. Bye.